You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Weight loss solutions are not one-size-fits-all. Hers makes it simpler to get started and stick with a weight loss plan, backed by expert-guided online care that puts your weight loss goals first. These include oral medication kits or compounded GLP-1 injections. Through Hers, pricing for oral medication kits start at just $69 a month for a 10-month plan when paid in full upfront. No hidden fees, no membership fees. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hers brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. Reach your weight loss goals with help through Hers. Get started at forhers.com/4u to access affordable, doctor-trusted weight loss plans. That's forhers.com/4u, forhers.com/4u. Paid for by Hims and Hers Health. Weight loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at forhers.com apply.
This is Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while marveling at the demands and constraints of the patriarchy and more terrible parenting.
Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout it from the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
Hey HBs, this week on the bonus feed, we're telling you about our most recent rabbit hole. We'll be recapping the first two books in the Scandalous House of Caledon series by the same author who wrote our book today, Stacy Reid. And we've got some amazing people who have recently joined the ranks of this very Patreon. So hello, you beautiful romance lovers, and thank you for choosing us to play with. Erin, Grace B, ATL Wu, Emma, EJ, and KP. Today, we've got a truly bonkers and epic historical for you. HB David blessed and cursed us with this incredible recommendation. So here's our recap of The Wolf and the Wildflower by Stacy Reid. Hello, Sabrina.
Hi, are you ready to not suck?
I am ready to not suck. Yes. Yeah. Listener, this is our second stab at this because we got like half an hour into an attempt at recording this and we were like, is this an episode? And then we abandoned it and we just recorded
Miscellaneous things for Patreon. But it was literally, we got like half an hour in and we had paused for the 50th time. And I just looked at Mel and I was like, is this a bad episode? And she goes, yeah. I don't know. What is this?
Like, it was still funny, but we were having the issues that we have when we've got technical difficulties, when like the internet is being
lagging. A fucking asshole.
It was just our chemistry and brains
that
was
clear,
lagging.
Listener, it was not because we did not like book. Okay. Hi. Welcome. We are here for The Wolf and the Wildflower by Stacy Reid.
Holy fuckballs.
It arose because I was figuring out reading list stuff beyond Patreon poll, and I couldn't think of anything, and Mel couldn't think of anything, and we're both just, there's a lot going on behind the scenes right now. And I was like, what if I just do like a game on Patreon? You know?
Yeah. And then it turned into a really fun thing. And so we're going to do it more often.
Yeah.
Not like regularly, but like we're going to do it more often.
Yeah, like not on any specific schedule or anything like that, but like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. Y'all read a lot of stuff.
This opened my horizon.
Y'all read a lot of stuff that would never even cross my reading list other than that. Because like, especially like you and me, Mel, you and I read a lot on top of recording, which is already insane because by default you and I are reading at least 52 books a year for podcast.
Yeah.
But like we're still reading a lot on top of that, but like
our algorithms feed us specific things, you know, a lot of times. And so breaking out of that has been really wonderful. I've never even read
heard
a
of Stacy Reid.
Yeah. And David won, and so HB David gave us like 5 books that we chose from. And like, I'm not opposed to going back to those lists later on and being like, what else you got there, patron who won? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like,
this is incredible.
Well, and like I spearheaded the little game. And so I got all of those recommendations from him to give to her. Yeah. And took like screenshots and I sent them off to Mel and I was like, hey, these are the book options that David sent. How do you feel about all of them? Like, which one are you interested in? I'm of these most interested in The Wolf and the Wildflower because naively, I was like, this is a standalone.
Sure. That's not dangerous for us, we said to ourselves. Here's the thing. It was the right answer and the wrong answer.
It was absolutely
if that makes any sense.
It was the right answer because the book was amazing. It was the wrong answer because in the week and a half, I guess almost 2, I don't even remember when I messaged you book options.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I fucking need the date because I have something horrendous to tell you and it's all HB David's fault.
Well, while you're looking that up, I will say that it was the right answer because I think this is my favorite read of 2025.
Damn.
Yeah. The premise on this thing is redonkulous and then Stacy Reid nails it.
I love a historical with an absolutely bananas premise where it's like, and it only works because it's in England times.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it only works because Stacy Reid is a wizard. Like, truly.
That too. I'm not going to lie. When I read the synopsis for this book, I was like, I want to read this because I think that if it's done well, I'm gonna really enjoy it. But like, I was very aware that this could end up being real gross.
Yeah, weird gender stuff, like weird
gender
man
stuff.
is animal stuff. Yeah, like it could have gone real sideways with a clumsy author, but Stacy Reid just adeptly navigated the forest of this nonsense, and boy, she stuck the landing. Oh, Jesus! Stacy, how dare you?
We confirmed that this is the book we were going to be reading on August 20th together. It has been, since then, almost exactly 2 weeks.
Yes.
I have read other things. And I have also, however, read her first series ever, which is 4 books, and her second series ever, which is also 4 books. And I finished book 11 of her third 12-book series last night.
Stop it, Sabrina! That's 19 books.
No, it's not. It's 15.
4, 11.
Oh, 11, not 7. No, in my head, I was adding 7 to 8. You're right. It is 19 books.
That's 19 books in roughly 14 days.
That's not terrible. That's only that's like a book, 1.1 book a day. That's not terrible. And no, that's like 1.5 books a day consistently.
You've just been inhaling
and
them.
That's including 3 since then. 3 solid days where I've barely done any reading because I had friend events because I actually have a social life now.
Wow. Incredible. Well, I can't wait for the Patreon bonus episode for this week. We haven't recorded it yet, but Sabrina and I are going to talk about everything else we read from Stacy Reid since reading this book. I am not as deep as Sabrina.
But you have started?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, so not only is this a Patreon recommendation because we played a game, but then we get to squeep about more Stacy Reid on Patreon. Patreon's also where you get early and ad-free episodes or same day. Usually I try to get them out on at least Sunday night, so you do get it early as well.
Yeah. Hey, listener, have we ever really talked about what actually happens on Patreon? I don't think
Probably not. No. Yeah, so you get usually early all in one day and network ad-free. I still leave in the indie author ads because I feel like they're very relevant to all of our interests still.
Yeah, they're not canned.
And I want to give those authors as much Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have live events over there once a month. This month was an Alexandra Vosti author hang, but we also do watch parties and stuff like that. And it's fun times over there.
There's also the Discord. There's
the Discord
a
is the funnest
tier,
place.
which is delightful.
Yeah. You can come hang in the Discord. All right. So, look, we're opening up in this prologue because one thing about this book is that there is...
Every parent sucks in this book. There's not a single parent in this book that I don't want to. Maybe the dad. The only one who doesn't suck is the Duke father. Shockingly, the Duke father is the only one who doesn't suck. And we only see him through rose-colored glasses and happy memories.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, he's basically not in it, and that's why he's great. I thought you were saying her dad, and I was like,
no, her father is so it's been long enough since we read the book that I actually started rereading. And I wasn't reading it. I was just I only got halfway through and I wasn't reading it. I was just I'd read a page here, I'd skip a couple of pages, I'd read a page here, skip a couple of pages.
You were refreshing yourself.
Yeah, I stopped refreshing myself because I couldn't stay away from book 10 in the series last night. Did I state that I did read through book 11 last night? Because I did read,
yeah.
But I couldn't I couldn't stop. This was so good, but I couldn't stop thinking about what happens what comes next in book 10? So I was like, it's fine. I have notes. Melody, I'm sure, has reread the book at this point. We're fine.
Yep.
Everything's fine.
No, every parent in here is unreasonable at best, okay?
We open up in this... I forgot how much they suck until I was, rereading. I think
it's incredible.
I will tell you, doing my little refresher thing last night did make me realize that's what happens is I'm looking at the books with rose-colored glasses. Because I was like, the parents are bad, but they're not, the absolute worst. And then... And you always come in and you're... And this happens with books all the time where I'm like, it wasn't... Yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought about... No, the problem is I need to start, noting my feelings. Because, my notes are so much just, this is plot. And then I talk about feelings, as we're going through.
Yeah.
No, I need to start, keeping notes.
Even if you just do it with emojis.
33% in, I want to just strangle these people. I want, I cannot possibly express how deeply I reread the prologue, and I was so angry by the end of it.
I mean, and angry because this mom is truly backed into a corner because of patriarchy.
Yes.
Right? Like, I understand where she's coming from, but I don't understand the cowardice we see later on that backs her daughter into a corner. You know what I mean?
Well, and this idea that, like, your husband loves you so much, he loves you, and he just can't stay out of your marriage bed and blah, blah, blah. He doesn't love you. If he loved you, he would not do this to you.
Yeah. So, look. We open up in the we need to tell listener what happened. So,
oh yeah, I guess that's kind of important. That's kind of, I guess that's what we're here for, or
listener
something
is
like that.
Lost in the woods. Okay, so part 1 of this absolutely redonkulous premise is that in the prologue we are seeing the heroine being born, and the mom has had a really, really hard time both with pregnancy, miscarriages, and dangerous births. And so she has one daughter, and then this is, a multiple attempt later at giving her husband a son to, like, pass along his legacy. Sit the fuck
And this,
down.
on top of that, this is a second son of, like, a whoever, what the fuck. And so, like,
it's a nobody.
You don't...
This is completely selfish on the dad's part. And the mom is really, like, the mom needs this to be a boy. And so when the baby comes out, the midwife is holding it and everybody's, like, really elated. The baby's wrapped up, puts on the mom's chest, and then the dad bursts into the room to be like, oh my God.
My son! And nobody corrects him?
Yeah, he says, oh my God, he's perfect. Yeah. And the mom doesn't either because, she
also thinks it's a son. Like, she's all flustered. And, like, the midwife, which, like... Obviously, the midwife's not gonna, like, fucking... This is England times where servants and midwife and all of these people are fucking... You're not gonna stand up to the fucking lord and lady of the manor.
Well, especially since this midwife knows the history.
Yeah.
So the dad leaves to then, celebrate his virile whatever, stupid. And the midwife is like, hey, girl... I regret to tell you this, but that is, in fact, a girl child. And the mom is like, what? No. Because when she had her last, terrible experience with pregnancy and birth, everybody told them you need to wait at least 3 months. A year would be better so that your wife is better able to handle the rigor.
And even then... She might not be able to handle it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the dad was like, nope, I'm back in there as soon as her monthly courses start because do need son.
Well, and like, what pissed me off so much on this little skim reread thing I started is she's like, he's gonna seduce me into.
We're
like,
just so much passion between
there's so
us.
much, like, we love each
Pull
other
out.
so much.
You fuck? So, look, the midwife looks at her and she's like, hey, there is another option that will keep you alive longer. I've got this daughter who would love some job security. And so what if we just let your husband keep thinking this is a boy because dads have no part in the rearing of children in these parts. And the dad will never see this kid without clothing or a diaper on.
I mean, hell, even the mom in this time of their level of society might not.
Yeah,
which is
that's
bananas
true.
to me because, like, how many children, and, like, this is gonna fucking hit for you based on the text messages you've been sending. How many kids just get naked and run around?
Oh, wow.
How do you stop that
house?
How do you stop that child from not just, like, ripping their trousers off and running around with their little butts hanging out?
With their little booty out. Yeah. It's very freeing. It's a really nice feeling. Yeah, it's almost impossible.
Are you gonna fucking put a goddamn lock on this child's pants to keep them from
chastity
ripping
belt?
them off?
Is it mini chastity belt times? I don't know.
Oh my
it's
God.
crazy. So she's like, hey, this guy's never gonna know. And then in like a year or 5 years or something like that, when you're healthier and you're feeling better, you can tell him this is, in fact, a girl child. And if he still wants a son, you can more safely try again. So to be clear, the midwife's daughter is going to be like the head nursemaid for this kid until it's older in order to keep this secret. And so she names him Jules, and she says, like, she doesn't, I want her to say, like, forgive me my trespasses, but she doesn't. She's just like, party!
Melody, so before we jump in, because listener, for you to understand, immediately we zippy zap to 23 years later and nothing has changed.
Turn page 23 years later. What? HBs, I might have something you need, okay? We all have those break glass in case of emergency books, and I'm on the record, the Spite Date is now a break in case of emergency book. Like, break that glass and get it in your brain. The Spite Date is a hilarious, fun, single dad romance featuring a golden retriever celebrity who needs to get out of his own way, a woman trying to live her best life, even if she's not sure exactly how to do that, and a series of plans gone very, very wrong. It stands alone and comes with a sweetly satisfying happily ever after. Look, the hero's British, okay? And the audio is gonna nail that accent. The heroine is accidentally arrested at one point. Oh my God. There are shenanigans all over the place. And frankly, I love the twist on celebrity romance when, like, the other main character does not give a shit who they are. And that's exactly who this heroine is. It's a rom-com, so you have a great chance of laughing your face off. And it's a cinnamon roll hero, and it's an enemies to lovers, except the hero doesn't super get the memo on that, and he falls hard, and he falls first. The Spite Date came out this month, so it's hot off the presses for you. I'm putting buy links in the show notes.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
So now we need to tell them part 2 of this bananas premise, because it's 23 years later, and Jules, the man who has just gotten back from Austria after having studied psychology for 4 years, no, 2 years, doesn't matter, just having gotten back from like postdoctorate studies, postgraduate studies?
It doesn't matter. Old times college.
Yeah. So Jules has just gotten back from Austria.
Whatever that looks like.
Where she was studying psychology again. And when she gets back, she's reading the scandal sheets, which are talking about this Duke that, like, was lost in the Congo, or, like, lost in a shipwreck, and then
the Congo is the exact opposite. But isn't the Congo...
Yes, shut your mouth. London has been buzzed with news that 2 persons matching the description of Lord James and Lady Felicity have been found by an archaeological team in the jungle near the border of the Congo. I'm saying that, like, they're wrong. The scandal sheets are saying that this guy is everywhere.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
except for, like, where he actually was. And so she's like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, what? Come on, everybody. Who's gonna fall for this? And then her dad gets a visit from the Duchess of Wolverton. And because her son has recently been discovered and returned after 10 years of being lost and stranded and surviving in the Canadian Yukon, everybody. Wow, it's Arctic up there. And she's worried. Oh, this is the next bit of unreasonable parenting, because I think he's been home for like a cool 2 weeks, right? After 10 years of isolation and relying solely on his instincts. And truly, every day was a battle for survival. 10 years and 4 months of this. And 2 weeks later, she's like, he won't give up his bone knife. And, like, his hair is so long. And he barely speaks to us. And, like, I need him to be the boy who left.
I'm not allowed
Bitch, you're
to
not the
touch
mom
him.
who left. Yeah, I can't. He won't let anybody touch him. And I think he's got a malady of the mind. And so maybe you mind doctors can help.
Hey, listener, we did you a serious disservice because we didn't finish explaining what has happened over the last 23 years. The mom never came out and did anything. This child, Jules, found out that she was not like other boys when she started her period unexpectedly at 12.
Yeah.
And was like, oh my fucking God, I'm dying. And the mom was like, yeah, no, you're not dying. So listen.
You need to keep this like huge secret that could ruin my marriage, our family, everybody.
Yeah, I decided not to tell you when you were 5 or 6 or tell your father, because at 5 or 6, she still could have this child could have transitioned into society, like as far as society is concerned.
Yeah. It would have just been a hardship for their marriage.
Yes.
And the mom was too much of a coward and fucking selfish to do that. And so she put the burden on her daughter.
And then Jules Jules identifies as a woman. Even though she has been raised as a boy in England times, she identifies as a woman and has all, it's fascinating to me as somebody who's like, meh, gender. But she actively feels like a woman, just societally.
She behaves and is treated like a man.
Yes, which is why she was able to go to school. But in her teens, before she would have debuted, she's like, I, hey mom, how do you feel about telling dad
at 15?
I'm ready. And the mom was like, no.
The mom
guilt
burst.
her.
Well, the mom burst into hysterical crying and then fainted is what happened. And so in order to protect her mom and her feelings, she kept on going along with it. Then she saw her older sister come out, debut on society's whatever. And she started she started seeing the stark difference between how girls and boys are treated at that age. She had so much more freedom. She had so much more, everything was more strict and confining for her sister.
She was able to, and luckily, God forbid, it is so fucking the universe did Jules kindly by giving her an interest in psychology. Because can you imagine putting up this front and pretending to be a man for this legacy that you're not even interested in?
Yeah. I mean, that's one way that is definitely a benefit. I mean, my issue to go along with that is she has been forced to lie to a man that she hero worships and loves beyond compare, her dad and she have a really, really close relationship, and it is all built on this huge lie that she can never tell him.
And it's not even her fucking lie.
No. She has to go along with it. First, for her mom. And then second, because she actually is interested in psychology. She wants to go to college. And although at this point, a couple of women have been allowed to audit classes at Cambridge or Oxford, nobody's been allowed to actually attend and graduate from those institutions. So she knows that the only way she's going to become the mind doctor that she's always dreamt of being is by carrying on this facade. Meanwhile, not only does she have to bind her breasts, by this point she has to wear stage makeup every day and like a fake mustache.
Okay, wait, no, it was so fucking
and like
funny. Well, like she's trying to hide it.
Imagine?
No, let me tell you, it's a good thing that she's wearing this stage makeup, because the one that I just read where she's pretending to be Julian and she's pretending to be this valet, right? Like she doesn't, and he's like, why am I so attracted to my unexpected valet's derriere? That's a luscious derriere.
Rosy cheeks.
Also, like, there's no way this person is 4 and 20, because that's a smooth cheek. There's no facial hair on this creature. Like, and also I had this thought while we were reading this book, right? Where I was like, you know, we did not have the opportunity for the Duke of Wolverton to be like, oh God, am I gay?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening here? And like, it was a very neat sidestep, which is fine. That's not a problem, right?
I liked
like,
it,
it was fine. But I did have the thought, I was like, that is a good way to get around the sidestep, because like, this is jumping ahead a little bit, listener, but like, he knows. He clocks it immediately. And it's not like an unexpected, even when he doesn't immediately clock it from him. Like, we're not in his point of view in that scene, but we do see him thinking about it later. And he's like, I was intrigued by this creature. Like, it wasn't an immediate, like, I want to hump this person. It was a, like,
it was
something
an interest.
Something, like, something
it was a mystery
different.
he had to solve.
Yes. And I love that this was sidestepped in this book, and that's fine, because it was plot reasons, right? And, like, frankly, it's fine. You don't need to fucking grapple with your sexuality in every book, right? That's not a requirement. But in the book I did just read, where he doesn't realize that he is a she until a decent way in, he is like, I've never
what are these feelings I'm having for the first
into
time?
Men. I've had 3 lovers, but they've all been women, and it's not like, it's never crossed my mind. I've never been interested in men. So what is it about this man? And he's a scientist. And so he's like, he ends up doing this whole experiment. But it was just,
incredible.
I love that it wasn't none of the times has it been a, oh my God, I could be gay. Like, oh my God. Yeah. It's like, there are people like that.
Sure.
It's just, I didn't think that I was one of them. And I did really like that. So anyway, continue.
One of the other things that I really, really liked about this book is a component that I wouldn't think of right off the top of my head that comes from his experience out in the Yukon. But Stacy Reid uses it so adeptly and really weaves it into his character in a way that makes so much sense, because, you know, speaking of his sexual orientation and whether or not he grapples with that, one of the other things we don't grapple with is even that at the level of, like, what will society think? We do that a little bit because of the heroine, but the Duke is like, bitches, I survived 10 years out in the forest, literally fighting bears. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about anything. What the fuck? Like, part of the reason they think he's mad is because he's just like, I'm sorry, the world is gonna end if I don't wear this fucking necktie? Is that what you're trying to tell me after I didn't freeze to death for 10 years? Like, miracle upon miracles. I literally defeated the mountains of the Yukon, and now you're like, oh, he got up early because he doesn't want to eat the same dinner we do. Oh, like, it's so funny.
This is such a great example. Like, I did have, like, listener, I need you to understand before we even continue talking about this book, this man's got a sniffer on him. Oh, this man is a paranormal creature. He is a paranormal creature.
He's a werv.
And he's got a sniffer on him.
Oh, yeah.
That is
he
how
a sommelier of the air, okay?
That is how he ends up knowing that she is a man in disguise.
He smells the fucking estrogen on her.
And he can smell... It doesn't matter what's going on around him. Boy, he can sniff that way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and we even get the trope of, like... Well, what does that smell? It's extra today. I smelled it the other day, but now it's more. what's that? And he's like, oh, it's your essence.
It's your arousal.
It's so funny. I fucking love it.
This is such a great example of like, you can totally take a book set in now time, or not now times, but like this universe, not a paranormal, not an alien, not a sci-fi, not a monster. These are just regular human peeps, and like, get weird with it. We're gonna love it. It's just like, cause like,
well,
no.
Look, but I think part of the reason really is because of Stacy Reid's talent and attention to detail, because she roots this in science too. She says that because of his experience out in the wilderness, having to revert back to like his basest instincts and his base senses, there was a while where he had to like live in the dark for a long time. And so his senses developed at a higher aptitude than they were before out of like utter survival instinct. And it makes sense.
And you know what, listener?
Even if it like didn't, I would still be fine with it.
I'm telling any author out there, it doesn't have to make sense if we're still having fun.
Yes, absolutely.
The point where it has to make sense is like, you and I talked about that. I don't even remember what book it was we read recently, but like, it was like, you can have like one thing where where you have to truly suspend your disbelief.
Yes.
But the novel is still enjoyable. And like, that is true, but for me personally, it's not exactly true, because like, if I'm having fun, I don't frankly care if it makes sense necessarily. And so like, I was having fun, and this one doesn't even fucking count, because like, you don't have to suspend your disbelief. It's like scientifically proven that like, if you lose a sense, your other senses
compensate.
And so if you like, you might not be blind, but by God, if you're stuck in the dark of the northern, essentially the Arctic Circle, where there are months where there is no sun.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly your other senses are gonna kick up.
Not to mention that, like, you need to know where prey is at that point. You need to know where, like, the predator animals are at that point.
But
and your senses go wild. Like, he can hear better. Like, it's a whole thing.
The point is Stacy Reid. Stacy, can I call you Stacy?
Hey, Stacy.
Hey.
Oh, hey. We're big fans over here.
So fun. I don't even care if there wasn't a science thing.
Truly.
I didn't care that this is a paranormal creature masquerading as a duke. Because by God, I was having the fucking time of my life.
I mean, yes, and that is happening simultaneously while the book grapples with some really serious stuff as well. You know, like, she manages to weave it all together in this beautiful, hilarious, deep, just romp.
It's so funny.
It makes me so happy.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
So look, basically the mom shows up and hires the dad, who is an official mind doctor. He's Dr. Southby. And then he brings Jules along as his, like, assistant. And they're going to go and figure out what's going on with this Duke, because the biggest thing on the Duchess's part is that she needs to make sure society and the Queen knows that, like, he's fine. You know, he needs to be totally normal in front of them because the person who has the authority to like send him to an institution is the queen. So at the very least, when he's at court, he needs to like keep his shit together. And the same is true for the rest of it. At one point, I mean, one of the things was tough for me to suspend my disbelief is like her insistence that, you know, they're at the whim of society to a certain extent, or they're at the whim of society. And to a certain extent, I can absolutely see that. But it was tough to be like, hey, girl, you really think that, like, they're going to come after your fucking Duke son? Like, I don't think so. I think he's still going to get a fine wife.
No, I get it, though, because ultimately they would have lost the Duke. And I wouldn't have remembered this without going back through it.
Sure.
But there's a cousin who was going to be the next in line with him there. And, like, if there's one thing I know about in England times, those heir apparents, once the heir is gone, they're not going to fucking they're going to
hold on, they're white knuckle it.
Or if they are close enough, or hell, even if they're not close enough. You and I read a book that one time where, like, the dude was, like, fifth in line. He was, like, a third cousin or some shit. And he went around and fucking killed everybody to fucking get in line. And, like, okay. And they need to do it now.
I totally hear that.
But the thing that baffles me is, like, and I know, I get it. I know, like, I understand that this idea that the upper class, strictly because of circumstances of birth, like, they're better. They're
supposed
whatever.
to be superior.
Like, they're superior.
Yeah.
And there's just no time. He is given no time to adjust to the fact that he is no longer. He's been in the middle of fucking nowhere, potentially alone, because at this point, nobody knows if he was alone or not.
Well, but thinking of human contact, absolutely alone.
But, like,
right? Like, there's no question about that.
Well, they don't know. They don't know. No.
Yeah.
Right?
But
like,
that's the assumption.
Yes.
For sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But, like, the mom just is so fucking desperate.
Yeah.
For him, she just wants to pretend the last 10 years never happened.
Yeah.
Why are you not the boy that you used to be? There is a scene that we're gonna hop into where where food is involved, and I was
baffled by that.
Put the book down because I was both times I had to fucking put the book down because I was so fucking angry.
Yeah.
Like, this is a thing in Stacy Reid's books, and it's fine. I fucking eat it up like a fucking spoon.
Yeah.
But, like, all of these parents, it's been a while since I've read a series of a back catalog where almost every book, the parents are just so hot ton. Where it is...
Okay, yeah.
Like, every single one of them almost are like...
We have to conform, or die.
And we have... Yeah. And it's like...
Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing. You'd think there would be a grace period. Oh, I'm sorry. You'd think there would be your grace period, right? Once he gets back.
I am so fucking proud of you. That was an intentional pun, too.
Great job, Melody.
And you
I think I undercut myself
You caught it in the moment, though, instead of, like, 5 minutes later being like...
You telling me what I did.
You recognizing it, like, 5 minutes later, or me going, did you? And you're like,
hey,
did
girl.
I what? Did I what?
I think I do undercut myself by celebrating so hard immediately, but, like, I don't care.
No. In this fucking timeline, Melody, where the cast of The Princess Bride is, in fact, who they are, we're not in the timeline where Arnold Schwarzenegger was the...
Wow, that's a deep cut joke from a watch party. Ooh.
It was, but I'm just telling you.
He was almost the Giant instead of Andre the Giant.
Yes. And
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Listener, can you fucking imagine? That would have ruined the movie. I'm sure of it.
Or Colin Firth as...
What a goddamn joke. As Wesley?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just to catch listener up, if you're listening, the joke ended up being... Because, to be clear, listener, in watch parties, we're not just sitting there, like, in the chat, quiet, like, we're not all quiet watching the movie and in the chat, like, making comment. No, we are actively talking the entire time. So if you come to a watch party expecting to be able to just sit and watch the movie, I hope that you're prepared to read subtitles, because sometimes we're all cutting up so hard that there's no...
I mean, look, if you're coming to a watch party, you're not going to get quiet solitude, you know?
No.
There's just that.
It's slumber party vibes.
Yeah.
But, like, we have come to the conclusion that the timeline that we live in, it would be a better timeline.
No.
That
was not a consensus, ma'am. That was not a consensus. If Arnold Schwarzenegger had been the giant...
That's the sacrifice. It would be a better timeline. The sacrifices that we got...
The ripple effect.
Yes.
The world at large would be better, but that movie would be terrible.
Yes.
Yes.
And then, but then this is on a more happy, hopeful side note. We are in the better timeline where Colin Firth wasn't Wesley.
Sure.
So, we all make sacrifices.
There we go.
Anyway.
Wow, how did we get there? I wonder.
What was the tangent?
Oh, you'd think that he would get a your grace period is where it started.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was, though, is listener, in this timeline, who fucking cares? Melody celebrates so hard.
Thank you so
Your
much.
little win.
You got to do the little stuff these days.
In this fucking timeline, where the Princess Bride is as it is, I need you to make.
Thank you.
Celebrate
Thank you for that permission.
Celebrate the punny wins. Okay.
Thank you. Yes. Anyway, you'd think that he'd get like a grace period on like the marriage mart, They're giving him a grace period on sitting in Parliament, but somehow that doesn't extend to like being in parties where there's like a crush of 500 people and nobody cares about fire codes.
He has 3 weeks.
3 fucking weeks before he has to be charming.
3 weeks from the day that Jules and Psych Father get to the fucking fancy manor house.
Yeah.
He has 3 weeks. And then it's less than 3 weeks because this nightmare of a duchess is like, we're also going to have a house party before then as like practice. So really in actuality, you have like 2 weeks for him to be pretend to be a functional member of society, because we are going to be having a little house party of eligible, my pick of eligible ladies in the ton to come out
and she justifies it to be like, I'm not just going to throw him to the wolves of like all of society at once.
He'd be happier.
I'm going to let him like, put some toes into the water with this house party.
Listener, he would be happier being thrown to literal wolves because that's how he survived in the fucking tundra, is living with wolves.
Yeah. And his nickname was Wolf beforehand, so I really feel like all of his societal circle like manifested that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, this is a fully an experience of the universe that this book exists in. Listen, this was manifested. There was no way that he wasn't going to get lost in the middle of bumfuck Canada.
Yeah,
for 10 years to live with wolves. Okay, he's literally the Duke of Wolverton. Okay.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, but the bottom line is what Jules and her father, what Jules finds out and her father like sort of agrees with after a while, because he's desperate to have like a famous case study where he gets to be the one who solves it. And it's like you can smell it coming out of his pores, the desperation. The bottom line is the Duke is fine. Everybody else is the nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
He is not only doing his best, it is quite acceptable. The only thing that I think, might put somebody off, especially if you're asking them to court someone, is the fact that he cannot stand being touched by anyone. And that's because he was starved of touch and affection and all of that for the 10 years he was lost.
Well, and then he had to lock it down to survive his feelings, his, I literally cannot imagine.
All of it makes absolute sense, because otherwise he was just torturing himself with his memories and longings and all of the things that you would naturally feel when you're ripped away from everything you know.
There's a point where his mom, he's talking to, so we'll get there because we're about to get there once we start actually cruising through the plot instead of bitching about all of the fucking side characters. So they get there.
Yep.
And they're having their meeting with him. He's like, why are you here? Because he's like, what can I do for you, Mom, to make this like what can I do?
Ever thinks about is his mom.
Yeah.
He's just like, I don't matter. I know my duty.
He's like, I will compromise with you on certain things. And she's like, I need you to talk to a mind doctor and I need you to make an effort, which like...
Ma'am. Anyway, yeah, so they show up and her dad tries to talk to him for a bit, but it's clear that the Duke is like kind of brushing him off. And Jules steps into the conversation to connect with him and explain what's going on. And so he does all of that, and then they start sort of bantering back and forth because he asks how old Jules is, because he looks like real wet behind the ears. And Jules is like, I'm 3 and 20. And, but first, everybody's like aghast. And he's like, I'm sorry, did I commit some sort of faux pas by asking you how old you are? And Jules says, a lot of people might think so, but I've been referred to as the unflappable sort. And then... Jules promptly trips over the rug and gets caught by the Duke. Like he moves with preternatural speed, all right? And he gets her.
And then he takes his sniffer and just runs it up the side of her face like...
Yeah.
But sexier. It's a sexy sniff. Okay.
In a disconcertingly hot way, right? Because she's not, up until this point, like the Duke has pushed down all of his feelings by necessity, and Jules, out of, either like nature or subliminal necessity, has pushed down all of her sexual feelings. And so she hasn't even considered. She thought that she was always going to be celibate and no
Stacy
romantic whatever.
Reid loves a virgin heroine who's never even masturbated and doesn't even know what a clitoris is. I can, in the 19 books that I've read, I think there's maybe 1, maybe 2 where they've had sex, even if they've been married before.
No,
they've never had sex.
I love it. Anyway, so yeah, he puts his nose like right to her neck and then sniffs all the way up her face. And his mother's like, Wolverton! Ah! And he finally lets Jules go. And Jules is trying to hold it together. And so she's like, thank you so much, Your Grace. I might have taken if you hadn't caught me. It's totally fine.
I'm not having weird pants feelings about this situation.
And then the Duke looks at her with this very calculating eye, and he's like, everybody out except for Mr. Southby. And the dad has already spoken to Jules and been like, we need to be in the same room because we don't know if this guy's going to go feral and lash out like these other feral people have done when they lived with animals for a really long time. But he leaves because a Duke told him to. And then Jules just gets her notebook out, sits down in the one and only other chair, and waits. And this is like a novel experience. Because since he got home, his entire extended family descended upon the estate. There are 15 aunts and cousins and nieces and whoever else, and they're always chattering about him, right? Within earshot, but not engaging him.
Well, it's one of those things, too, where they don't realize they're in earshot, but he can hear. He has a really good sense of hearing now because that was such an incredibly important sense of his. And so even when they're also whispering,
no, but there's also a couple of moments where they're talking and they're saying some real bullshit, and then they get even lower to say things like savage and
yes, that
barbaric and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of times where they know that he can hear them, and they're just saying terrible things like it's a disgrace to the family that he didn't go to Cambridge. Shut your fucking mouth. He went to the College of the fucking Yukon. You wouldn't be able to make it,
Get
your judgments and take them packing.
College
Anyway,
of the Yukon.
Ouch. Yes!
Is that an embrace? I kind of want that to be an embrace.
Silly.
The college
That's
of the
funny.
Yukon. Continue.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Well, yeah. And so the fact that this other person, this creature, as he starts calling her, because she never confirms nor denies that this is a disguise. So he starts calling her like a creature. And the fact that this creature is just sitting with him in quiet, in silence, and waiting for him to come out of his shell is like, it's like this relief washes over his body, you know, and he's able to talk to her more. I think partially because he's a werv and this is his mate, but also
yeah. Well, it's also partially like he doesn't trust her, but the thing is now they both have a secret. And this really comes back when it's decided that she's staying at the estate, because he's like, I will not talk to anybody but you.
Yep.
I will not talk to your father. Why? And the only one who I will, like, if that is acceptable, then you can stay. But otherwise, you're both leaving. If I have to talk to your father about all of these things, then sucks to suck.
You're toast. Yeah. And it is partially because he knows that he can ruin her just as much as she could ruin him, you know? But it never feels like malicious or malevolent or anything like that.
No, it's just we're on a level playing field. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're equals.
Also, he does not understand, because she is an unknown for 10 years, an unknown is a threat. And not a threat to his state in society, not a threat to his livelihood. It is literally a threat of life and death. And so he's like, I need to figure out what it is about this person, because
anything new is potentially deadly in the Yukon.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's what he's learned over the last 10 years. So now we get into sort of the ebb and flow of them living at the house with the family and with him. He refuses to like talk to... Yeah.
This is where we get the name of the book, though, because he asks her, why are you dressed as a gentleman? Why do you stand so close when you must know it's socially scandalous? Southby asked, eyes gleaming with decided mystery and cunning. That look of calculation had James staring at Southby intently. No denial? Those lips quirked. Have you considered I might be an extraordinarily attractive gentleman? You have a complicated neckcloth knotted at your throat. Most men do. Some have called me a dandy. I do not allow it to prick my vanity or assurance. I dare say I am simply too confident. The tie of the cravat is no doubt a bid to hide the softness of your skin and the distinct lack of Adam's apple. Your scent is of ripened peaches and the fresh, crisp air after rainfall. A wildflower. Wildflower? Jules' heart shook and she lowered her head to hide her expression. Is this to be my new moniker, Your Grace? It suits. Do not ask. It is not important. Why does it suit? Wildflowers grow in places least expected. They are resilient, determined, some might even say unbreakable, their scent myriad and inexplicable. Is that how you see me? Jules silently asked. She took in a breath, feeling absurdly shy. Very well, Wolf.
Ooh. And then he calls her Wildflower in private for the rest of the book. And it was one of my favorite things that's ever happened to me.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So anyway,
especially when, oh man, okay, I need to not forget this when we get to like their, well, it's their next talk. So look, 2 or 3 days later, because he just ignores them for the first couple of days as like a power move. He's definitely doing like the alpha dog, I'm putting my back to you until you know that I'm head of the pack.
Well, it's also, he hides away in his office to read. Yeah. He's catching up on the last 10 years of society, of politics, of basically everything that's gone on. He's playing catch up.
Yes. Yeah. And so the next time we see them together is at dinner, and he eats a few bites and then he gets up unceremoniously and just walks out of the room. The whole family is in like, they gasp and they're in an uproar. And then the mom looks at the 2 mind doctors and she's like, I bet my son might like some company, you two. And they're like, yep, you're right. You're totally right. This is our job. So they go after him, but the dad wants to be sneaky about it. The dad wants to like stay behind enough to like observe him and see what he does in the wild because he won't let them in. And this is the only way if they treat him like a lab rat. And Jules is like, Dad, we can't do this. And he's like, I'm the one who is the mind doctor. Like, cool it. She's like, okay, I don't think this is a good idea, but I'll defer to you. And then they round a corner and the Duke just like is right there. He's like suddenly in their faces and they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And the dad is trying to pass it off as like an evening stroll.
Oh. Hello. Fancy meeting you here in the middle of the fucking forest.
Very interesting. And the Duke says, because the dad in this conversation says to Jules that he's frustrated because the Duke won't tell them anything about his experiences in the Arctic. He won't tell his family. He just refuses to talk about it. And so when he's right in his face and he tries to pass it off as like an evening stroll, he says, I don't owe anyone my experiences. You don't get to invade
not even my mother.
Privacy. No. And certainly not you. And so he's like, Dr. Southby, I do not trust you. And then Jules says, how about we exchange stories of our past? And he's like, oh, he says, you want an exchange of truths, Southby? And she's like, oh shit, I'm going to have to tell him everything. Like, ugh. And so she makes this bargain with him in front of her dad in this coded language. And so he says, yeah, you know what? I think I could do that. We'll do truth for truth. Once again, I'll only talk to Mr. Southby, and you can fuck off right now, Dr. Southby.
Oh, and her dad is not into it.
He's
like, well, that's not a thing. And the Duke is like, okay, well then you both can leave.
GTFO, pal. And the guy's like, well, you know what? Sounds like I'm absolutely going to do my diagnosis through my son. Turns out, suddenly it's fine if the option is leaving. So he takes her, he's like, walk with me. And they walk into the forest. And then all of a sudden, she looks up and there is an entire tree house built out in the middle of the forest. Because one of the other biggest complaints from his mom is that he spends an inordinate amount of time out in the woods behind their house. And she's like, I don't know what he's doing back there. I don't know why he wants to be back there. And when she asks him, all he says is what's out there is peace. Because a lot of times he'll start feeling really confined in the house and everything starts feeling very claustrophobic. And he just needs to like take his shirt off and go run in the woods for a while. Obviously, his family is scandalized when he does this, but she realizes that like since he's been home, he's secretly had builders come out and construct him this entire forest hideaway, this sanctuary that he can go to.
Also, it turns out his valet is a 10-year-old who just catches him pheasant. Basically,
oh
he's like, he does everything I need him to do.
Yeah.
This is it.
Oh
and
my
she's
God.
like, why do you, like, essentially, like, why do you come out here so much? And he's like, I can't eat those dinners. They are unpalatable to me after 10 years of no spices, no rich things like
barely cooking meat, you know?
Yes. Like it's stated that there's a lot of times where he's just eating shit raw. Because like it's not like he doesn't have fire. He literally he stays warm by snuggling with wolves. Okay,
and only when they allow it. Because he is on the outskirts of their family.
Well, yeah, because
all of the 10 years.
Because they recognize that he's not a wolf.
Yeah. He's not one of them, but like he can hang, I guess, is the whole what the whole pack thinks, except for his one best friend, okay? And we'll get to it. But
and she's like, well, why don't and this I was so fucking mad about this because she's like, why don't you say so? You're the Duke. Ask for simpler fare from the kitchen. And he's like, I did. And my mom says, like, my mom refuted that and won't allow that to be how things are. And she is convinced that my favorite meal as a child is this disgusting, rich pig in sweet sauce. And I can't eat it, but she won't let simpler fare at the table because I'm a Duke. And I'm not allowed.
In fact, when he said he'd prefer something simpler, the next day at dinner, a larger roast was there with three flight
other
of sauces. Yeah. And so he's like, look, I know that I can squash her authority in the house, but like, I don't know, she's been through a lot, basically is what he says. And he says, I'm of a mind to treat her gently, is what he says.
She's been through a lot.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Sir. Yeah, so now what he does after dinner is go out and eat pheasant that is being cooked on a spit. Mm-hmm. And so Jules, her tummy rumbles, and he's like, oh, what's going on over there? She's like, well, I did kind of have to run after you before the food was even barely served. And
do not
he's
worry,
like,
Southby. I shall share my pheasant with you.
And yeah, so they sit down and eat. And then he smells her again. And she's like, you really need to learn to keep your nose to yourself.
Your cheeks are rather flushed and your eyes suspiciously bright. He leaned slowly, deliberately, almost leisurely toward her, and her heart kicked a furious rhythm. The Duke ran his nose across her cheeks. It is quite fascinating how your scent changes. Earlier you smelled like the forest itself. Now you smell like caramel and lavender. You should really learn to keep your nose to yourself, she said, painfully aware that she was blushing. How bloody ghastly. That will be a requirement for when you are about in society. His aristocratic nose flared and the provoking gleam in his eyes deepened. You are free to smell me in return. I shall not object. A faint feeling of surprise stole over Jules.
He encourages.
What is a little nose between us partners in deception? Is that your reasoning? And then, listener, Jules almost choked when he reached out and pinched her chin between his thumb and forefinger. Her breath audibly hitched, and then the dratted man smelled her again. Jules felt as though she couldn't drag enough air into her lungs. You must never
do this in public.
I assure you, the inclination only seems to descend on me in your presence. Is it not interesting? I have never smelled anything like you, Wildflower. Jules narrowed her gaze thoughtfully, leaned closer to the Duke, quite aware of how perilously close their lips were. Then she dragged his scent deep into her lungs, already sensing she was making a most dangerous mistake. And then they have a sniff-a-thon. Listener, they're just snuffing each other.
And it's a banter sniff-a-thon. Like,
it's hot, too.
He says, like, I feel like I smell fear on you. And she's like, I'm not afraid of you. Do not ever think I could be. And then he says, is it your gentleman disguise that gives you the courage? Her chest gave a frightful squeeze. I've never admitted that I am in any sort of disguise. I do not care what you admit or not. Your scent tells me everything I need to know. And he tells her that her disguise is, like, rather brilliant. And then he says, I like it. I do wonder whether, if you are stripped of it, would you be the same? Jules hoped it was not evident how her heart raced. Is that what you wish to do within our alliance? Strip away my layers? Something truly mysterious sparked in those beautiful eyes. And what would you do should I attempt to unravel you? I fear you are unequal to the task, Your Grace. A challenge, Wildflower? Ah!
But then importantly, because I have that exact quote too, because he says, "Would you accept it?" And she says, "No,
Savage.
I would not." Or no.
Savage flickered in his eyes. No, I would not. Why not? Because you are of no real, lasting interest to me, he says. Jesus.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
By the way, importantly, we did not clock this, and I can't believe you didn't mention this. In this conversation, listener, the Duke asks her to call him by his Christian name.
That is correct. I didn't know if it happened before or after this, but apparently it happens before.
It happens before this, and he's like, call me James.
James.
And I was like, oh, hello, James. Okay.
And she has a hard time with it for a while until she starts sniffing him back. And he's finally like, ooh, James out of your mouth, huh? Oh my God. Oh, mate. So she tells him that he smells like the cold night air. Jules said with candor, brisk and chilled yet refreshing. How does it move you? Her belly tightened at the odd question, yet somehow she understood his meaning. Move me? Do not prevaricate with me, he ordered, his tone almost hard, yet his gaze gentle. Truth, honesty, the building blocks of whatever connections flowered between them, took hook inside her chest. Your scent enters like a breath of air inside my body, one that does not want to leave. It moves through me with a power and feel of wonder that I do not understand. There is my truth, Your Grace, and the earth has not crumbled. And so they are like chatting and sort of also negotiating the other things he needs to do in order to be a gentleman and like do what his mom wants and woo a duchess. And one of those is like, are you going to take dance lessons? And he's like, if I must. And it's so incredible because one of the other things that we figure out in this scene, because she says, like, if you're going to have dance lessons, if you're going to successfully woo a woman, you're gonna need to, like, touch a tiny bit at the very least. And he says that I find myself wanting to touch my wildflower or something like that.
What are you thinking now, James? That I want my wildflower to touch me, and that perhaps I wish to touch her as well, skin to skin, without any gloves on our hands.
Yeah.
Jules' heart stuttered inside her chest. His wildflower?
Yeah. So the amazing thing about this scene for me, what I was trying to get to is that this ends up being more reciprocal than Jules could have ever imagined. Because he, like, caresses her face, and then she realizes in that moment that, like, nobody's ever touched her like that. She's never been in a romantic situation. She's never allowed herself to be in any kind of romantic situation because it would have had to be with a girl. But more than that, she's had to keep her distance physically and emotionally from even her family members in order to keep this ruse up. She's not very close to her sister. They've never done like, sister hold hands or snuggles or anything like that. Obviously, her dad doesn't do anything like that, partially because she stays away from him so that he doesn't feel the texture of her cheek or whatever, but also because she has to maintain that distance in order to feel even remotely okay while lying to him with every breath she takes. And so he's connecting with her in this way, and she's realizing that she has also been starved of that connection in just a different way. Oh, yeah. It's like, how dare you, Stacy Reid? It's...
As somebody who dealt for a long time with being touch-starved, I was like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people understand that after the pandemic. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it was really beautifully done, is what it boils down to.
Because his solitude was because of the remote wilderness. Her solitude, and there is a lot of solitude, even when she's in a room of people, is because of this deception. Sorry, go ahead.
And, like, this book really plays with the idea of being alone versus being lonely.
Yeah.
And it's... Wow. So we end up kind of like, we're going to have to montage it basically. Like, it's not a long book. If you have any interest, just go read it. It's worth it.
Go fucking read it. Favorite read of 2025. And you've heard how I squeed about other books up until this point, okay?
Yes.
Jesus.
Like, if you need a reminder, listener, just go listen to the Puck Boys episode from back in January where I didn't need to be there. I've listened to that episode.
An accessory to that podcast.
I've listened to that episode, and like, Melody could have done that episode just all on her own. All on her own.
So a couple of things have happened, right? Like, one of the things is that in order to not only maintain her ruse, but also to get closer to him, is that she has them put her in a room across the hall from him in the empty East Wing. And so nobody else is there. She realizes that, like, oh, thank God I've had my period just before getting here. But even then, like, she takes off her stage makeup at night. If anybody is to stop by her room or whatever, they're gonna see Juliana, right?
See, that's the thing. No, she's not a Juliana.
She's not Juliana.
Yeah, no,
her legal
name is
Jules. Yeah.
Like,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. But she's herself without any of the pretense.
Exactly.
When she's alone in her room.
Right. The other really beautiful thing that happens, I think, right now is, like, the night later, because she's like, we have to make this stop. Because I'm pretty sure he gets, like, a hand down her pants because he's, like, searching for that scent. Okay?
He
had one lover.
Listener, I need you to understand this is later when he ends up with hand down her pants. The first touchy touch is just faces. And
no, you're right. You're completely right. But she's still like, this can never happen again.
Yes.
And he's like, I guess so. And so she leaves that encounter. And then later on, he comes inside the house and he finds his little sister being melancholy at the pianoforte and stealing brandy. And it's really cute. And they manage to reconnect. And that's really beautiful. And you should read it.
Together.
She says, brother, I need to hug you, please. And he says, not right now, maybe later. And then he says, what about watching the stars with me instead of hugging? And she just like gobbles up that olive branch, you know? The importance of this scene, more than just like his emotional journey, is that he's realizing that a lot of people are actually relying on him to be the Duke in public because, like, Felicity had a suitor who had been, like, you know, writing letters back and forth, and she was sure he was gonna propose the next season and all of this. And he's been dead silent since, like, the rumors of this feral Duke coming back have been happening. And so he's like, oh, shit, I'm not the only one who's gonna be fucked if I don't pull this off.
This is accurate. Just I do need to say this before I forget to mention it. The night that she moves into the West Wing, she does sneak into his room.
I forgot.
And she does sneak into his room and looks around and gets a feel for it. And then she hears a tippy tap of feet coming up the hallway, and she does hide. And then he does come in and she's hiding. And then it's silent for a while. Very importantly. Well, he's silent for a while. So she pokes her little head around the curtain a little bit to look around. And he is standing in front of the window, highlighted by the moon. And he is stark naked.
Yeah.
And
because
boy,
he smelled her in there.
Well, and then we see him turn to the side and we get a view of his profile, and then we see a... And then his lip quirks, and she's like...
And he looks directly at where she is in the dark. And she's like, no, he couldn't possibly see me.
And he just quirks a lip and then goes and crawls into bed. And then she waits for a hot minute, and then she's like, he's got to be sleepy,
I bet I can crawl out.
And then she does crawl out, open the door, and like quietly snicks it shut again. And then we do get lots of comments later at one point, because like, oh, this was even before they go out and have that conversation, because when her father's like, we're gonna follow him, in that conversation, the Duke, she's like, I'm so sorry, we shouldn't have done that. We care a lot about your privacy. And he like smirks at her, and he's like, my privacy, huh?
Huh. Yeah? And she's like, oh no, he knows.
And he's not even mad about it.
No, he loves it. He showed her that sexy butt, okay? All those back muscles. And he's like, I don't regret it. But at that point, he didn't realize, because he's been sleeping outside for every other night. So he hasn't realized that she's been in the room across the hall. He does tonight. He goes back and she can't sleep because all she can think about, oh my God, he told her that he wanted to lick her everywhere when they were touching faces. And she cannot stop thinking about that. She can't get it out of her brain.
Listener, if you decide to follow me down the rabbit hole, and this is also important information for Melody.
Yes.
Boy, Stacy, Reid loves a hero that loves to lick his lady. Yes. They like these dudes are so into just licking these ladies from top to bottom. Like, it's great.
I'm all about it.
It's wonderful.
I'm all about it. Yeah. So she's like pacing and she can't stop thinking about it. And he comes to her door and he's like, I smell you in there, Wildflower. Like, I know you're right at the door. And she's like, oh. And he says, what are you doing in there? Please open the door. I like talking to you face to face because, like, you do this very specific mannerism when you're confused, and like you do this other incredibly cute micro expression when you're that. And she's like, and she opens the door. And then earlier she told him to make a list of all the things he wishes he could do, but like sort of can't. And he says, what do you want me to do with that list? And she's like, I mean, try to complete it, I guess. And he says, oh man, do you have where he says like, I want to kiss a lady and like feel her breath upon my mouth and all that. Do you have that highlighted?
Do you know that list you told me to make? Yes. I've been thinking about it. Inexplicably, her heart started to pound. Good. What are your expectations of what I should do with the things I have on it? Jules swallowed. Find them? Experience them? They're the ordinary things in life that will help you reclaim the part of yourself you had to leave behind to survive. You craved touch because you were deprived for so long, James. Do not be alarmed if the other things coming to you speak to your base heart or baser self. Trust in those wants and needs and see them fulfilled. Some measure of normalcy might return them. He dropped his hand from the latch. I want to taste a woman. I want to take her mouth against mine, savor the feel of her lips, enjoy the glide of her tongue against mine, feel the vibration of her moan against my mouth. I am sure there are many ladies who will eagerly oblige, she whispered, shocked that she hated the image of him kissing another. You? Jules' heart thumped. No, of course not. And if I want it to be you? Once again, spoken like a true duke.
Very importantly, he says, I do not wish it to be you because you are convenient, Jules Southby. The desire cuts its way deep into me simply because of you. Yeah, so they start making out hard, okay?
Yes.
And he's dragging her scent into his lungs at the same time. And then he just starts like sniffing and kissing all the way down her body. She's only in a nightshirt right now. And he says, you smell wonderful everywhere. And then, he pressed his nose to the space between her legs and inhaled. A fiery blush covered her entire body. James, you are wet, Wildflower, and your scent. Fuck. His voice was a rumble of sensual want, and her belly grew hot and tight. Jules knew what he wanted, and she wanted to give it to him so badly her body shook. This is madness. And then she says this can't happen again, and he's like, have you ever felt this before? Like, this is special. And she's like, no, you're right, I've never. And he says, then why do we have to deny ourselves? And she says, denial and restraint are part of living. And he says, what is the purpose of restraint? And she says, to protect oneself from consequences that might be too hard to bear. He faltered into stillness before stepping back. Perhaps in this you are correct. I bid you good night, Wildflower. And then he says, but because I am a slavering, ravenous beast over here, I need you to not be in that room tomorrow. Like, you can't be this close to me
anymore. She does move. She does move out of that room. She does, in fact, move into the connecting bedroom.
Yep. That's where we're going to stop for today. Tomorrow, we'll be back for the second half of this incredible book. How are they going to stay together around all of these gender norms and secrets and... Okay, see you tomorrow. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you tomorrow.